On today's episode of UMTV News, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will face off in Philadelphia for their first presidential debate.
Plus, how one small Miami-Dade business is transforming the way we dispose of our food.
And later on, an incident with the Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill is sparking debates on police brutality.
All this and more on today's show. UMTV News starts right now.
Hello and welcome to UMTV News. I'm Max Keller.
And I'm Melissa Beatty. Thank you for joining us. Presidential debates usually do not decide elections, but in a race this close, tonight's matchup could play a critical role in determining who voters choose in November. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will be facing off in Philadelphia in the first and potentially the only debate before voters head to the polls. Just over 2 months ago, President Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee, faced former President Donald Trump on an Atlanta stage.
We finally beat Medicare.
24 days later, Biden announced his exit, vaulting Kamala Harris to the top of the ticket with a burst of momentum. But now polls show a tightening race.
It was inevitable that her rise would run out of steam. We live in a deeply polarized country where partisan identity is critical.
The Harris campaign coming out swinging with a new ad today designed to grab the attention of both voters and her opponent.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes.
As the vice president says, she's prepared to face an onslaught of lies and personal attacks from Trump on the debate stage.
He plays from this really old and tired playbook, right? Where there's no floor for him in terms of how low he will go.
But the Trump campaign expects the former president will stay on message.
He has to focus on what he has focused on primarily throughout the whole campaign trail, talking about bringing down inflation, talking about securing that southern border, and making sure that he holds Kamala's feet to the fire for 50 days.
Both looking to sway those undecided voters who hold the keys to victory in November.
I just have to watch the debates and see. And I don't know if I'll really know until it's time to actually vote.
The campaigns for Harris and Trump had to agree to a set of rules for tonight's debate, including the fact that the candidates' microphones will be muted when it is not their turn to speak. Both of them will have 2 minutes to answer questions and 2 minutes to rebut their opponent's answers to the question. There will be no audience in the debate hall. Both candidates will be standing the entire time, and no notes and no props are allowed on the debate stage. There will be no opening statements, but there will be closing statements for both Trump and Harris.
And here at the University of Miami, the Office of Civic and Community Engagement has brought in political author Sam Daly Harris to convince students to vote. Daly Harris also had a chance to promote his republished book with new chapters called Reclaiming Our Democracy, and also encourage students to get involved in the upcoming election. He says he believes each student can find a personal reason to vote in November.
What do you care about? I mean, because there are things you care about that matter in terms of the election. The second is, do you not know what you care about? One of the things I'm going to talk about in the talk is knowing your why and sharing it.
Daly Harris also gave several examples of bipartisanship success stories and encouraged young voters to stay optimistic about the government's ability to make an impact.
Tomorrow marks the 23rd anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks that claimed the lives of thousands. Commemorations have been planned around the country, and here in Coral Gables, fire and police departments will host a memorial service at the city's police and fire headquarters to commemorate the 9/11 victims. 3,000 people were killed and thousands more injured on and after 9/11 when terrorists attacked the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. The saying, "Never forget," has been tied to this tragedy as a way to honor the more than 400 first responders who lost their lives.
Tropical storm Francine is making its way to Louisiana and Texas, and forecasters are warning residents they could face life-threatening storm surges. The storm is projected to form into a hurricane before landfall in Louisiana tomorrow. This is the 6th named storm in only 1 month. A hurricane warning is currently in place for most of the Louisiana coastline, and a storm surge warning covers areas near Houston all the way to Mississippi and the Alabama border.
For all you tree huggers out there, one Miami-Dade enterprise is turning trash into treasure. Our reporter Ariel Weil went to check it out and joins us now with the root of the story. Ariel?
9 U.S. states have transitioned to mandatory composting. However, Florida lags behind. I had the opportunity to visit one small business in particular that is pushing to change that narrative.
But that's okay. Life is messy.
Most people who care about the environment practice recycling, but there are many other ways one can do their part to minimize their carbon footprint.
When I first started down this road, most people didn't know what compost was.
Composting is nature's way of recycling. It transforms organic waste such as food scraps into soil. Microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, and insects are used to break down the organic material.
I want to break this linear model of take, make, and waste. Because that's what we do right now. We extract things from the environment, we make something, and then we landfill it. And that's a linear system that doesn't exist in nature.
Dr. Lynette Sobel has been practicing composting for decades, and 15 years ago she founded a special organization for composting. Its mission is to divert food from landfills or incineration, replace conventional fertilizers with organic soil, and restore South Florida's environment.
One of the major composters in South Florida is Fertile Earthworm Farms. See these giant mounds of soil behind me? Well, they actually used to be food. And since 2011, Fertile Earthworm Farms has successfully converted over 20 million pounds of food into compost.
Landfills aren't the way to go. Incinerators are not the way to go. You know, like we have a serious waste issue on our hands that we all are a part of. All of us are part of the problem, but all of us can also be part of the solution.
The farm spans over 10 acres of property in Homestead dedicated to compost. About a dozen trained employees and volunteers work there.
It is not a big thing here in Florida, unfortunately. We are like the first ones that are doing it in a commercial level. And our goal is literally to get the entire state to do it.
Fertile Earthworm Farm has teamed up with the city of Pinecrest to create the first program with community drop-off areas for large-scale residential composting.
We've been tabling at Pinecrest Farmers Market this entire time, and this was a really nice organic transition to be able to provide a composting solution for the residents.
Miami-Dade residents are encouraged to stop by their market stand to drop off their own compost and learn about their environmental impact.
Because we are large scale, we can take bones, we can take meat, cheese, dairy, things like that that you're always told don't put in your compost at home.
With the efforts of pioneers such as Lynette Sobel, South Florida is moving towards a greener future where waste becomes a valuable resource.
Sustainability. If you're interested in learning more, you can visit the Pinecrest Farmers Market on Sundays. For UMTV, I'm Ariel Weil.
Thank you, Ariel. Now it's time for a short break.
But when we return,
we will tell you what happened with Miami Dolphins star Tyreek Hill that is making national headlines.
and we will take you to one restaurant whose secret recipe is food, friendship, and purpose. Details coming up after the break.
It's important to get a flu shot each and every year because flu viruses are constantly changing and immunity from the vaccine decreases over time. Flu vaccines are updated annually to work against that year's viruses. The best time to get your shot is in the fall, but getting it later can still help. Getting a flu shot lowers your risk of getting sick, and if you do happen to get flu, it's likely to be less severe.
Miami Dolphins star Tyreek Hill is sparking national debates about police brutality. Miami-Dade officers pushed Hill face down on the ground after pulling him from his sports car outside Hard Rock Stadium on Sunday.
When he said, "If you don't let your window down, I'm going to snatch you out the car," I was like, "Sir, my window is down. Like, what do you want?" I'm not trying to cause a scene because, if I let my window down, like people walking by, driving by, they're going to notice that it's me and they're going to start taking pictures. And I didn't want to create a scene at all.
The police officer in question has been placed on administrative leave and an internal affairs investigation is underway. Following the incident, Tyreek Hill caught an 80-yard touchdown pass that led the Dolphins' comeback win over the Jacksonville Jaguars.
One restaurant in Fort Lauderdale is special, but not for their delicious food. Angela Safone visited the restaurant and joins us now to tell us more. Angela, what makes this place special?
The Friendship Circle is not just your typical restaurant. They are affiliated with an organization that are changing the way people live and are seen. They're serving more than just full plates, but full hearts.
The Friendship Circle Grill is a Mediterranean restaurant in Fort Lauderdale. And although it provides high-quality dishes for customers, it's the people involved at the restaurant that make it unique, just like Cameron.
We are a family, and when we succeed together, and it's so beautiful to be a part of this program. It's really changed my life dramatically.
The restaurant is a part of the Friendship Circle organization, a life skills program that helps adults with special needs. The organization was founded in 2009 to bring focus on people's abilities, not disabilities.
I'm learning how to run a register, accept money, count money. I'm learning how to be responsible enough to come to work every day.
The program is for adults 20 years and up, and the program is held from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. from Monday through Friday. They provide hands-on training and teach communication skills, academics like math and reading, and work skills.
Every single day, our students show amazing leaps in language, communication, understanding and responding to social cues.
At the Friendship Circle Grill, they are able to complete tasks like cleaning tables, greeting customers, or filling the fridge.
All of the Friendship Circle was created to help people with special needs. The organization is changing more people's lives than just our special friends. Our volunteers are served full plates, full hearts, and a full purpose.
And there are so many brilliant, incredible, and genuine people in our community, and just to be in their presence is the reward that I get from coming here.
Once a year, the Friendship Circle has their kickoff event to welcome new and returning volunteers. They create a fun experience to teach volunteers what to expect from the program, as well as how to handle the needs of their special friends. The organization has culinary, baking, and musical events, which is what they called the Harmonicats. They form friendships and memories that last a lifetime. The program gives Cameron and others happiness and something to look forward to.
I'm a miracle of God, and if I didn't have this program, I don't think I'd be alive. This program saved my life.
The Friendship Circle organization has constant events each month and are always looking for new volunteers. If you're interested, please visit their website, www.friendshipcirclefll.org, if you want to make a difference in your community. For UMTV, I'm Angela Safone.
Thank you, Angela. And finally, award-winning actor James Earl Jones has died. While Jones was known for many iconic roles, he was most recognized for the ones where we could not see him on the screen, such as Mufasa in The Lion King and Darth Vader in the original Star Wars movies. He was also known as the voice of CNN.
This is CNN.
James Earl Jones's career lasted for more than 6 decades. He was 93 years old. You know, I'm a personal Star Wars fan myself, and it's going to be truly very sad to know that he can no longer be the voice of Darth Vader.
I mean, he was so moving in his role as Mufasa, but Darth Vader is my favorite role, especially that "Luke, I am your father" line. I mean, that's the most iconic line in movie history, right, Alyssa?
I mean, that was pretty iconic, and I think you replicated it very well.
Oh,
so.
I appreciate it.
Well, that's all the time we have for today on this week's episode of UMTV News.
We'll see you again at the same time next week. Have a great day.